and that is your hidden magical manifestation machine. Did you not feel the magic when you wished Joan Van Blake love? Did you not feel your heart opening? Did you not feel love pouring through you? Did you not feel the love of the community being expanded? You just manifested a new level and experience of love. You are constantly doing this. And how wonderful that the hidden magical manifestation machine is you. Now, the task for all of us is to use our manifestation possibilities to manifest more loving, supportive, uplifting good. Where at times perhaps we have inadvertently misused it to manifest struggles or difficulties. And that's what I want to talk about today. Your hidden magical manifestation machine. And there is an X factor to manifesting your good. The key is that we manifest most effectively and mostly with our feelings. Yes, we buy all kinds of lotions, potions, ointments, and unguents. We get all kinds of readings and healings and crystal baths and salt baths. We get all kinds of graphs and affirmations. But the purpose of all of this is to cause us to feel love. For when we feel love, we emit that to the universe. And the universe shows us love. Like that old song by Robin S., you've got to show me love. So when we emit love, the universe shows us love. And feelings of love are the important X factor of this. In my book, The Miracle of Prosperity, I call it emotionalizing or creating with emotional energy. Now, Neville Goddard goes into a lot more detail on this. He says it in this way: all transformation begins with an intense, burning desire to be transformed. The first step in the renewing of the mind is the desire. You must first want to be different and intend to be before you can begin to change yourself. Then you must make your future dream a present fact. You do this by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. By desiring to be other than what you are, you can create an ideal person you want to be and assume that you are already that person. If this assumption is persisted in until it becomes your dominant feeling, the attainment of your ideal is inevitable. And I want to read the operative two sentences of that again so we get it. You must want to be different, then you must make your future dream a present fact. You do this by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Then the attainment of that inner state in your outer world is inevitable. So the point of all of this is that feelings are the creative engine of our manifestation. And we manifest based on our feelings, not based on affirmations, lotions, potions, ointments, or unguents. How many of you have ever manifested a parking space in front of a place you didn't want to be? That's impossible. And let me just share with you from practical experience how impossible that is. So the District of Columbia forgot to charge me taxes on a certain amount of income 10 years prior. 10 years later, they decided to charge me taxes on a certain amount of income. And they decided to add interest and penalties to that. And they decided to ask me to pay it. I didn't want to, but I had to. So I drove down to the district office in an attempt to protest it before paying it, but I had the check already made out because, I learned you can't fight with City Hall. And so I'm down there, and that city building is in a very congested area. And so I was trying to manifest a parking space. 45 minutes later, I realized you can't manifest a parking space if you don't want to be there. Your feelings and every ounce of your energy is saying, I don't want to be here. 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 What you're manifesting is your feelings. My feelings were saying, I don't want to be here. And my feelings were making sure I didn't get there. That's the illustration of this point. There is a giant manifestation machine hidden in you, and it is your emotional body, your feeling center. Your feelings attract their reflection. So it's important for us to understand our feelings as the hidden giant. So how do we understand our feelings as the hidden giant? And then how do we use them to consciously create what we desire instead of unconsciously creating what we don't enjoy? Well, I have 3 points on that, and then I'm out. The 3 points are, number 1, identify your feelings. Number 2, purify your feelings. And number 3, get hooked on the feeling. And a song's coming up. Number 1, identify your feelings. Number 2, purify your feelings. And number 3, get hooked. Get hooked on the feeling. So what am I talking about when I say identify your feelings? Understand that when you can understand your feelings, you can understand the blockage. So for example, when I went down to City Hall to give them a check for $10,954.33, but who's counting? I had such strong feelings of resistance. And just like a plumber, you invite a plumber to your house, right? So when you invite a plumber to your house, they find the blockage first, right? So if the blockage is in the second floor toilet, they don't go down to the basement and mess with the basement sink. They find the blockage where it is, amen? When you hire a mechanic to check your engine because your check engine light is on, they don't mess around with the motor for your door window. They go to where the blockage is. They identify the blockage and then they fix it, right? Well, that's what we've got to do as well. We've got to understand the feeling to identify the blockage. And so how do we understand the feeling in order to identify the blockage? Some of you know this. Some of you took that IBM sales course, 5 W's and an H. Where, who, what, where, when, why, and how. 5 W's and an H. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. So how do we apply this? Number 1, who? Who triggered this feeling within us? Who triggered this feeling within us? What was the outer trigger for this inner feeling? What is the feeling you are experiencing? What is the feeling you are experiencing? What is the origin of this feeling? What is the nature of this feeling? What is the feeling of this feeling? Those are the what questions you can ask yourself. Number 3, when? When did I first identify this feeling? Because chances are, when something is triggering you, it is not the first time you felt it, and it is not the first time you identified this feeling. What is triggering you is of the here and now, but it may relate to something way back when, amen? It may relate to something that happened to you 17 or 70 years ago. When did this feeling first start manifesting in your consciousness? Janet Jackson, who was recently performing here in Washington. She did an interview with Newsweek 2 decades ago, and she talked about her diminished self-esteem and how it originated in a math class when she was in elementary school, and how a teacher had shamed her, and how she felt undeserving for decades as a result of this shaming in fourth grade. When did that feeling first originate? Where is that feeling showing up in my body? Where is that feeling showing up in my body? How is that feeling showing up in my body? So these are the questions you ask. And how do I address and heal this feeling? These are the kinds of questions you can ask to understand and identify the feeling. Is anybody with me? Let me know if you're with me. Let me know you're with me, okay? So once you get a handle on the feeling, and this is so important, because quite often we are not even aware of the feelings underneath our actions, our reactions, or our view of the world. And 80% of our job as spiritual masters is becoming aware of the feeling, owning the feeling, identifying the origin of the feeling, and then, of course, presenting the feeling for healing and purification. But 80% of the work is just getting our arms around the feeling. Just like with a plumber, 80% of his job is identifying that, oh, this is an awful story, but it's true. And it doesn't make it less true just because it's awful. 80% of the job is identifying that your tenant who decided not to pay her rent is complaining because the toilet won't flush, and she claims she had nothing to do with it except that there are female products and children's toys in the drain, and she has children, and those toys didn't get there by themselves. So 80% of the challenge, not that I as a landlord have ever experienced that, but 80% of the challenge is getting to the blockage. And once you understand the feeling, you have gotten to the blockage. And once you do that, you can purify the feeling. Just like when the plumber realized that lots of female products and lots of children's toys were blocking the toilet, that they could snake it and get it out and everything would be fine. We can purify our feelings, because feelings are creative energy, so that we can create with love instead of anger and pain and rage and sadness, defeat and shame. If we're feeling anger, sadness, defeat, envy, shame, doubt, or fear, what do you think we're going to create in our outer world? Amen? Anybody with me? So why don't we create with love instead? For love creates the miracle. A Course in Miracles says, everyone is entitled to miracles, but purification is necessary first. So how can we purify? We purify through prayer. Prayer is the medium of miracles. And there's a special form of affirmative prayer that we use, where we affirm the light of God heals us, and we identify the blockage, and we identify, until today I was feeling and experienced this blockage, and we answer the 5 questions, the 5 W's and an H, and it made me feel this way, and it originated here, and it causes me to feel in a certain way, and it has had these effects. But in this moment, God, I let you in. I let you into this feeling. I let you into this feeling at its origin. I let you into this feeling in all the ways that it has manifested and echoed through my life. I let you into every aspect of this feeling. I let you into this feeling in my mind. I let you into this feeling in my heart. I let you into this feeling in my energy field, so that you can flush my energy field of the electromagnetic effects of this energy, and we can transform that feeling with prayer. So one of the ways that we purify this feeling is with prayer, and another way is through purging. An aspect of healing our feelings is healing our emotional body, and that may involve emotional release. Just like you got to flush stuff down the drain, we got to flush stuff out of our emotional center, for our emotional center is the center through which we are manifesting. So this flushing may involve releasing it in letters, releasing it in words, releasing it with a professional who can support you in energetic transformation, releasing it in yoga. One of the things that I do is I go to my yoga class and I leave it all on the mat. I leave my anger, my shame, my fear, my doubt, or anything unlike love on the mat. And then when I lay there in Savasana, I say, God, I let you in. Stuff like yoga and stuff like walking in the woods and stuff like walking by the water and stuff like running and stuff like doing on the treadmill. It is not just athletic. It is spiritual. It is energetic. And it is taking the energy and moving it out of you, creating in the void. So then when you lie in Savasana, then when you lie in your silence, then when you lie in your stillness, the grace of God can rush in and fill that void that was created when anger or shame or doubt or fear or frustration or anything like love was living within your energy. Light rushes in, love rushes in, grace rushes in, peace rushes in, and the creative power to create what you desire in love, instead of the creative power to create what you did not because of what you were feeling before. That is what rushes in, and that is what purification is all about. This is the most important step. So this is not the step to skip over, because our emotions, we've learned, were things not to be ignored. Our emotions were things we learned not to display in polite public. But you don't have to display them in polite public. You can display them in the healing privacy of your oneness with God, in the healing privacy and in the healing safety of your healing space. You can give them over to God in the healing privacy where it's only you and God, or a practitioner who can support you in this transformation. And this is the X factor of healing and the X factor of manifestation that can help you become the most efficient and most effective manifestation machine possible, because you are then manifesting with only love. We've got to purify our feelings. And then the last step is get hooked on the feeling. Get hooked on the feeling. And what do I mean by that? You get hooked on the feeling of what it would be like, feel like, to experience your heart's desire. Get hooked on the feeling of what it would look like in your world if this heart's desire were made manifest. You get hooked on the feeling of this already being there. You get so hooked on this feeling that you look forward to having this feeling every day. You get so hooked on this feeling that you can't wait to get to your meditation space and feel this feeling. You get so hooked on this feeling that you skip over to that chair and you say, God, we're going to work with this feeling some more. Amen. You get hooked on this feeling because form follows feeling. You get hooked on this feeling each time you experience this feeling because form follows feeling. You get hooked on this feeling by faking the feeling first. Your world may seem like a crumble. Your world may seem like a jumble. Your world outside of you may seem so extreme in the other direction of what you want to feel. Your world and your past may look totally different, but you fake the feeling that you want to experience, because when you fake the feeling, you manufacture the energy of the feeling, and the energy of the feeling is what you use to manufacture and manifest your good. Note how manufacture and manifest are of the same root. When you fake the feeling, you manufacture the feeling. When you manufacture the feeling, you manifest the feeling, because form follows feeling. You feel the feeling. Each time you feel the feeling, you give it more form, because form follows feeling. Each time you bless the feeling, and what do I mean when I say bless the feeling? When you sit down with God, you feel the blessings of God. You say, I am blessed as the holy beloved of God, and you allow the blessings in. And what are those blessings do to the feeling that you have within you? They enhance it, they expand it, they sharpen it, they deepen it, they give it more power, they give it more heft. So you bless the feeling because form follows feeling. You immerse yourself in the feeling so that every cell of your body, every muscle, every tissue, every sinew, every layer of your energy field is vibrating with the feeling, because form follows feeling. You get hooked on the feeling, just like that song that I know you want to sing. I'm hooked on a feeling, high on believing. Well, the first feeling you get hooked on, the first feeling that you get high on believing, is that God is in love with you. You know that song, I'm hooked on a feeling, high on believing that God is in love with you. And when you get hooked on this feeling that God is in love with you, when you get hooked on this feeling that you are blessed as a holy beloved of God, when you get hooked on the feeling that you are innocent and deserving, when you get hooked on the feeling that your heart's desires are God's pleasure to offer you as God's beloved child, when you get hooked on the feeling of your desire and the specific form that your desire would take. How do you want love to look like in your life? How do you want love to show up in your life? You get hooked on that feeling. And when you get hooked on that feeling, you get high on believing that God will make it so. For the God that makes it so is you giving it permission by your internal manifestation machine that is magical because it has allowed the miracle of transformation. You get hooked on the feeling because form follows feeling. So that's what we're talking about today. Your magical manifestation machine is your feeling center within you. And as you identify your feelings, purify your feelings, and get hooked on the feeling of your desire, its manifestation is inevitable. And that's what I want to share with you today. Thank you so very much, and God bless you all.